Well, hey, folks, John Duffin here, Duffin Media. Welcome back to another episodes of Winning Solutions. So, what are we doing here? We get to be live today, whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on LinkedIn, whether you're on YouTube. We welcome you. Whether you're watching our replay, which people are doing, I'm really impressed by this. We're back for day 2 of a series of live communications. Easy, clean takeaways that you can utilize where if you're looking to improve your communications, and who isn't, to improve your results, optimize your results, get further ahead professionally, increase sales, build relationships, leverage relationships, elevate your position in a company. Hold on. If you're noticing a sense of being lost in the crowd, and by the way, keep those words in mind in regards to lost in the crowd, we're going to head in that direction today. So for all of you, for whatever reason you are here and wherever you happen to be, I welcome you. I'm thrilled that you get to be here. And I promise this is a short series in regards to what we're going to cover. And again, jump on in any of those platforms, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. Jump on, drop a note in the comments so I know that you're here. When you do, then we get the chance to interact more personally, which is what this is all about. I'd love your feedback. Agree, disagree. That's what it's all about, right? So for myself, here's the matter at hand. Again, 3 tips that you can utilize today. Hey, Care, very nice that you are here. Thank you for joining in. Very much appreciated. Look, here's what I'm going to say. We are, or you just make it easier, 'tis the season, so to speak. And whether you like it or not, there are some built-in networking opportunities, abilities to be able to build new relationships, leverage current relationships, move further. Some of them might be personal. John McBride, announcer to the stars, public address announcer, voiceover talent, morning host on Outside FM. Check him out. And I'm so excited to say John now is hard to miss. That's what's really fun to watch John ascend. Now, here's what I wanted to touch on. You may like networking events. You may dislike networking events. You may not want anything to do with those sorts of things. You may show up for all of them. Drop a note in the comments. Where are you with these things now? Because this is not a popularity contest. This is simply a matter of sometimes you're getting included to things, or you're thinking, I should show up more. I should try to make myself, known to other people to grow my business. Look, here's what I was going to touch on today. Where we go again, tips, techniques to move you further ahead. And I'll ask you, for some, it's easy to show up at these events. I'll describe a couple family members who I felt like were pros at this. But I'll ask you, have you ever felt lost in a crowd? Have you ever felt like, oh my God, these are such a drag? Holiday parties, or, colleagues are telling me I've got to get out, or you're telling yourself, or you're beating yourself up. Have you ever gone somewhere? Have you ever shown up somewhere that you just were dreading? And the reason you were dreading it is because you just felt like, oh my God, nobody's going to know me. Nobody's going to care. Nobody's going to talk to me. Well, I'll tell you what, I did, and I at times still do. Now you might be thinking, well, what's he doing leading a class if he still feels that way? It's nerves. We identified nerves yesterday and how to alleviate those nerves. I want to move the needle a little bit further ahead, okay, as it relates to being in any kind of a group setting. We're going to go head in 2 directions today, as a matter of fact. 2 directions, 3 tips. But For me, when I have felt lost in a crowd, and it's often before I show up, maybe a half hour before, maybe an hour before, I'm starting to be like, should I go? Is this going to be tough? I'll tell you how it feels for me. It can feel lonely. It can feel self-defeating. It can be fearful. What has that cost me? How's this for current information? What has this cost me? I have lost business opportunities in my life, and I know so because I chose not to show up at something, right? And you know what else it's cost me? My peace and my sanity. What do I mean? When I skip something, it's almost similar to 100 years ago when I used to call out sick for work, and in the short term, it used to feel great. And then a couple of hours later, you have this deep sense of regret and beating yourself up. So we're going to get past all of that today. This is not John's psychological profile here. I almost describe it as what's the opposite of Cheers? Cheers, the old show. Who's a Cheers fan? I still am. Every time I see the current cast or the former cast in anything, I go right back to Cheers. Cheers, where everybody knows your name. Well, what if nobody knows your name? Right? What if you're like thinking, oh God, I've never been to one of these types of events before? Everyone is, you hear loud volumes. You got to show up. You're trying to put yourself out there, and you're realizing I've never been here before. So what am I going to do? What would you do? Right? I have a very dear friend. Her name is Betsy. I've been doing more writing lately, so I think of certain people in my life, and she's one of them. And one of the things that I think about are this, which is there's an expression that every time I hear it said, I think of her. And it's the you never have to go it alone rule. Now, that comes from another context, and I'll elaborate on that in another live session, but I want to focus on that today. And I talk about remember the talk to, not talk at rule. Let's get rid of this stuff for a moment. I never want to be strictly PowerPoint sliding you through, is that a word? Through a presentation, right? So here are my thoughts. You got to get out more. You know that you can't live your life if you are trying to build relationships, establish relationships, leverage relationships, generate revenue, generate publicity, if you're constantly and exclusively behind your keyboard or playing with your phone. There's going to be times in your life at any and every age where you're going to actually need to see people. And I got to tell you, this is a practiced skill. It is also a very transferable skill. Okay. So what do I mean? The old adage of look up, the ability to be able to make eye contact, the ability to use your physicality to build a relationship or just have a professional conversation. So let's start there. Remember I said 2 directions? Let's start there first. I'll give you some examples. Drop a note in the comments if you've got any other examples. Here's what I mean. Examples. You are entering a new field like I did close to 5 years ago, right? I entered a new field. I was a very established professional, and we're going to use that for the next example. But I'm entering a new field. I launched a voiceover career, and I'm, and I was thinking about leaping into coaching where I am now, and also leveraging my voice, and it was all kind of new. So there were opportunities where I physically needed to show up, which is funny because very often the life of voice and narration work is just you behind a microphone and often behind acoustics. So you're it's just you, and you don't really need to do anything about it. But I'm a massive believer in showing up just so that you're better known and people feel your energy. And by the way, that's a big tip with where we're going to go. But it was new for me. And I remember needing to meet people. And honest to God, here, I'll share this with you. Back to John's deep psychological problems. Well, not that. But I have this crazy fear about an hour before I have to head somewhere, and it typically goes during the car ride too. Nobody's going to know me. Nobody's going to care. Nobody's going to want to talk to me. Nice, huh? How's that for being a motivational speaker? Well, and I am one. But here's what I've come to realize. That's all you. That's all you and weird, deep-seated fears that everyone has. Back to the nerves thing from yesterday. You want to move past that? Here's how you're going to do it. Walk into a room, right? It was always the hardest thing for me to do. That sense of walking into a space, right? Here's top 3 tips. Nobody knows you, right? And I talk right back to the talk to people, not at people. Go right back. We're going to start with your physicality before you're asking anybody anything, okay? But we're going to start with your physicality today. One of the pillars of my coaching program focuses on game day physicality, right? So if you were here yesterday, you heard me referring to my friend Jeremy Roenick. And one of the professional things that I've heard JR talk about in meeting people is simply the old school in the best way. Stand up straight, look somebody in the eye, and shake their hand. Every single person on this call now, on the replay, everyone I know, you can do that. You can do that. And here's how you're going to do it. Let's focus on the game day physicality for a moment, shall we? Again, I'm a big believer in basic physicality. All right. And so what I've come to realize is when you do the basics, I can do this seated on a StreamYard live call, but I'm going to tell you how much more fun it is when you're standing in front of someone. That's where the real magic happens. Okay. So the game day physicality is literally pull your shoulders back some, right? If you're seated, and this is going to remind you of your 4th grade teacher of sit up straight, pull your shoulders back, put that smile on your face, look somebody directly in the eye. Don't freak them out. You know what I mean? It's not that. But I'm going to tell you the physicality. Let me teach you how it impacts how you sound, right? When you pull your shoulders back a little bit and you stand up a little bit straighter, here's what's happening. Your vocal cords, your vocal folds, the oxygen running out of your voice instantly improves the sound of your voice. You sound what? Clearer. You sound more in command. Guess what else is happening? Your psychology is changing now too, because you're feeling more in command. This is not like yesterday's fake it till you make it. This is literally a question of building positive flow. And this is saying hi to a total stranger, right? Some places have name tags. Some events, the one I was at last night, did. Some don't. Hi, my name is John Duff, and I'm with Duff and Media. It's really nice to meet you. You can do that. You can do that. One of the reasons it's so important to get out and about, one of the biggest reasons, is the energy that you're going to feel. It's so uniquely different than every other form of communication. How much energy are you feeling during an email exchange? Right. None. 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 It's all you. Just, will they like it? Is this good? Oh my God. Oh, I don't like. No energy sharing. That's the key. But the ability to share energy. So stack the deck. Before you're asking good questions and all that stuff, give yourself the competitive edge, we'll call it, right? The game day physicality. Pull your shoulders back. Stand up straight. Smile. Then let's go back to the JR rule. Shake their hands. Direct eye contact. Introduce yourself. If you do just that, people are going to take notice, right? I mean, and if you don't know somebody and you want to get to know somebody, I promise you, that's how it gets done, right? Trying to guess what they like and trying to figure, if you don't know a person, and pro tip, by the way, you see someone that's got a group of people around them, they're probably somebody you would like to get to know. And so you're going to do the same thing. And now I'm going to give you point 2, okay, which is the second scenario. What if you are popular? And by popular, I mean people want to speak with you. Have you ever had that happen? So, being a member of the Philadelphia Ad Club for a lot of years, and I missed an event today, which is really making me upset. But I had a work situation come in. There was the holiday party, and I absolutely wanted to be there. And I'll tell you why. It has great memories for me. So I probably went to, I don't know, about 25 more ad club parties. God, way more. I'm cutting myself short. And so the first couple of years when I was in the ad sales business and sales management field, I was always the shy one because I had 2 people in front of me. And I mean, literally, that were, I feel, the gold standard. And they are my 2 sisters. So I have 2 family members that were in the field, and they're amazing. They're still amazing. They're just not in the field, but they, at this moment, but they are incredible. They're incredible. And shout out to my sisters if you happen to be catching this. But I just used to look at them in awe because they were both in the field and they would be at the same events, which was, I mean, in a way, a little weird. There's 3 Duffins at one Philadelphia event, right? But I would watch them from afar. Didn't want to get in their space, right? I was the third one in. I didn't want to get in their way or step on their toes or whatever. So I kind of stood back and I would watch them, and they'd have circles of people around them, and everything was great and everything was cool. And I'm trying to find my way. I'm grateful to say I did find my way. I was in the field for over 25 years. And who knows why, but I got popular, right? And then all of a sudden I have this sea of people around me. Now, here are my tips, whether you're that person on the popular side or you're that person that wants to get to know people. I want you to just think about these things because you're going to have events come up, whether it's this month, holiday party in my building, just happened last night. Networking event this morning. There's about 4 others that are going to take place between now and the end of the year. I really try to show up at them now, right? I'm strategic. I don't need to be at every single thing, but I really try hard to find things that are going to help me, right? Whether it's giving back or whether it's a question of needing to advance relationships for myself. So let's say you're the popular one, and now you're the one that's showing up and a bunch of people want to talk to you. Here are your tips. Stay in the conversation that you are in until there is a natural break or you excuse yourself. So, what do I mean? I can remember times where I would be talking to someone, still happens, by the way, and someone else comes in and wants to start a conversation while I'm speaking to someone else. Do you know what my natural instinct is? And this is not a good one. My natural instinct is to immediately turn around and start speaking to them. Now, you see what I just did? How distracting that can be, right? So here's what I've taught myself. Here's documented what works. Finish your thought with the person that you're speaking with. Just, you can acknowledge, but don't just immediately check out of a conversation in the middle of a sentence. Want to know why? That other person is going to feel less than. I promise you, they're going to feel less than. And because of that, you never know where they're going to turn up. You never know. Maybe they're not as fun or as cool as the person who wants to talk to you next, but you do not need to immediately jump out of a conversation. Finish the thought. Acknowledge, hey, thank you, and then go to the next person. Let me give you this example, what works so brilliantly. I watched a politician years ago. He's since passed away. He was speaking at a large round table that I was lucky enough to be included at, right? And so the politician's name was Arlen Specter. So there's about 30 people at the table, right? Arlen Specter made certain, I don't know if I can pull this off on the Zoom call, but I'll try, where he would be saying something like, all right, folks, it's great that you happen to be here. Oh, thank you for asking. Oh, thanks for asking me that question. He'd answer the question. And then he would immediately go to the next person for the next question. And when he went to those next people, one at a time, he'd complete his thought, he'd acknowledge them, and move to the next person. So just because the speed of communications is working at a point that might be too fast, events around this time of the year, people are all kind of, oh, hi, right? Remember the lost in the crowd part. Number one, you might be the person that feels like you're not qualified or suited to come into that conversation. You're not popular. You got nothing to offer. I promise you, you do, right? But don't try to barge into a conversation. Don't barge in to try to impress someone. And for the person that's in the center, make certain that you finish a thought before you move to the next person. Okay? Any questions on that? All right, here's your last tip of the day on this topic. When you might be becoming a little bit more popular, or even if you're not. In a perfect world, you want to be able to optimize relationships, right? But if these network settings or business settings or networking settings is what I was trying to say, parties, whatever, conferences, you may not have the opportunity to have a full, deep, heavy conversation with somebody and close a deal. They often move too fast for that. But you want to, here's your pro tip of the day, folks, with these sort of things. Really try, and I mean better than try. Go for the 100% goal here of an acknowledgement of a future conversation. Here's what it isn't, right? Oh, okay, I'll call you. All right, thanks, call you. Which comes off as exactly as bubble-headed as I just said it. But really try to say, look, let me email you, or let me call you, or let me whatever. And here's what I'm going to propose. Do it. Actually do it when you leave the room. The pro tip, Download everything that's in your mind the moment you leave the conference, the party, the event, the encounter, whatever you want to call it. What's download mean? It's so hard to keep straight multiple conversations. So the pro tip is either get to your car or get to a private space. Do not wait till you go back to the office. Do not wait till you get home. Do not wait until this evening when I have more time. Do not wait. Optimize every single conversations by doing the following. Get to a private space. What I used to do, and it worked like a charm. Go back to your car. Before you start the car, grab a pen and paper. Old school, right? Take your 2025 tech mindset and go old school. Grab your pen and paper and just download everything that's in your head. Don't worry about sequencing it. Don't worry about prioritizing in days and days. Just get every bit of nonsense out of your head. Why? You'll remember more. Here's where the way the science backs it up. You travel for 5 minutes beyond a conversation. You're going to remember a substantially high percentage less if you are 10 minutes removed or 30 minutes removed. The math, the science backs it up. Your brain only retains a certain amount. If you wait till you get back to the office, get back to your house, wait until you had dinner, whatever, you're going to retain less information. So the way to ask great questions, whether it's in the future, the way to ask great questions, the way that you can build up a better, stronger relationship like I have with my friend Tommy Kenyon, yes, sir, is to make certain, get this out of your head. Because when you get home, when you get back to the office, after you've had dinner, whether you've settled with your family, you can do all the prioritizing you want. At that point, take your sloppy notes and then prioritize. Put them into your CRM and do your follow-ups and your community that you're building. Do all that after. But get the information up, because you'd be amazed at what you can retain, and even worse, you'd be amazed at what you can forget. Names, faces, companies, what they like, why the energy felt good to you. Keep it to them, less than to you, right? And then the next time, which is your payoff today, there's a great chance there's going to be a next time. You can't guarantee anything in life, but I can tell you this, there's probably going to be a next time that you're going to encounter that person. Two things are going to happen. Number one, somebody you never met, right? Number one, you're going to be able to speak to them in a more cohesive fashion. So, hey, remember when we were talking about blah, blah, blah? I thought of you, and that's why I sent you X or emailed you this or included you in this or whatever. People are blown away that they remember those sorts of details, right? That's number one. Impress the pants off of somebody. Literally, it sounded weird, but but the reality is, just impress them by remembering what you spoke about. Isn't it awful when you're like, oh, I forgot your name, or what do you do again? It just feels, regardless of what side you're on of that, it just feels off, right? So what am I saying? What I'm saying here is point blank, make certain that number one, give yourself the gift, the grace of being able to use the information in a great, good way, right? Remembering reactions. Remember, when you're speaking with somebody, stay with them at least through the thought. Exit the conversation or the encounter in a way that is graceful and professional. and then download the information first so that you give yourself the good fortune of remembering. You'll remember way more. I promise you, the science backs it up. My personal experience absolutely backs it up. If you ask me the number of sales meetings that I've conducted where I spoke exactly about what I'm talking about today and how this was so easily transferable, it works, folks. It works. So do me this solid, right? Make certain, if you're going to do nothing else from today, try this. It's 2 tips. You meet somebody, give your physicality the chance to make it work for you, right? Shoulders back a little bit, smile on your face, head up, eye contact. Hi, I'm John Duffin, and I'm with Duffin Media. It's really nice to meet you. That's all you got to do. That's all you got to do. Anything from that point, you're in a better space than apologizing for what you did. But 2, oh my God, Michael Plisha, man. Heck yeah. You just took great notes, brother. I'm laughing with you, not at you. Oh my God, love you. That is beautiful. So, folks, just read what Michael Plishka said. That's what I'm saying. Honest to God, that whole process, everything that you see, I get to read out loud. Go to a private space. Anywhere is good. Get a pen and paper, download everything in your head, and don't edit. Keep those reflections focused. But like I said, don't sequence time, sort, save all of that for after. Here's the best part of that. Thank you, buddy. Here's the best part of it, right? The best part of this is, that whole process that I described, that takes a matter of minutes, not hours, not weeks, minutes, maybe 3 minutes. Because you know why? And here's a little science from your non-science geek. Your brain can only retain so much. Physically, you just you feel it because you'll say, for how long do you do it? My buddy Pete Bernard and I have an inside joke, but it's like, until it's done. That's based on another conversation. I'll save that for another time. When is it done? Well, you'll know when it's done. How do you know? You're done. It typically takes about 3 minutes often, and then go back and feel like a winner, right? When I led this with feeling lost in a crowd, the ultimate goal here is you're going to feel way less lost. You'll feel way more engaged. And then as you play the longer game, each subsequent time that you show up at an event, you get better and better at this stuff. And you're going to realize you'll see these people, maybe that you're meeting for the first time, you'll see them somewhere again. And then you can start to build a real energy rapport, right? And now that's what I'm offering today in regards to tips. Speaking of community that I brought up, I'm building a new community, more to follow with that. I'm not ditching my current community. But what I mean is you're going to see a very cool way that we're going to be able to engage, and more to follow on that very, 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 very soon. But in the meantime, I am over the moon grateful for all of you. If anybody has any questions, I will stay on the line for a moment to just make sure that I've addressed and answered them. And if not, you can know. My name is John Duffin. I'm with Duffin Media. Very nice to meet you. And this was another session of Winning Solutions. I'm thrilled that you showed up for me today. We are coming back with more tomorrow. And I'm excited for that as well, too. Thank you so much for showing up for me. Hope that you find value with this. And as you have, share with a friend. Let them know that they can be here. You will find me Facebook Live, LinkedIn Live, YouTube Live, and my ever most popular way to find me, scan the QR code. You'll get to my handy dandy website with all my social media links and also ways to contact me. And I'd love it if you would. All right. So, folks, go out and crush it today. If you've got an event coming up today, tonight, sometime soon, show up. Do yourself the favor. Show up. You deserve a seat at that table. Show up, make a new friend, feel the energy, feel the love as I feel the love from all of you. Have a great rest of the day, all. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.